We are joined by the chair of the Board of Trustees for Charleston County School District, Kate Darby. Kate, this was an emotional night, a lot of feedback from the community. What stood out to you the most about what you heard from public comments? Because the public comments lasted for over an hour.
The public comments did last for over an hour, and I know exactly where those people are. The reason I ran for school board is I spent a lot of time in the audience here advocating for issues east of the Cooper, and I think it was very well done. We got a lot of great input from people on a lot of different issues, so I made lots of notes, and I think staff will be and board, will be following up with folks on what they were here to share with us, so I think it was very positive.
Obviously, one of the major topics still is teacher evaluations. How are teachers being evaluated? Dr. Postlethwaite tried to address that in her superintendent's report tonight. What do you hope the people here received? What do you hope that they learned from their report, and what concerns do you think still need to be addressed from the public when it comes to teacher evaluations?
So I think people need to understand that we have 3,300 teachers who are the most important asset in our school district. And out of those 3,300 teachers, I think we have 28 that are on what's called continuing formal evaluation. So that means we're really working with them on their overall performance. I think one thing that was really misunderstood for the whole month, because we didn't communicate it well, was that EVA scores, so student test scores on how they do on MAP, would be figured into somebody's permanent record, and that was it, just test scores. So Dr. Postlethwaite actually went to a school today, sat down with some teachers, and the teachers said, look, I have a really high classroom observation scores, all of these things are good, but just this one score is low, and it's going into my permanent record. And she said, no, it's not. It's not going into anybody's permanent record. Just as we are as employees, that's a data point for us to look at with teachers, but the evaluation process is called ADEPT, and we're mandated by the state how we do that evaluation process, and student achievement is not a part of that. And one thing I think, I'm a mom, I had 2 children who went through the school system here. I want people to understand we understand that not all our kids start school or start each year at the same level, even though they be in the same grade. And what we're really trying to make sure is that our students are learning a year's worth, growing a year's worth or more in a year. So from our presentation today, 50% of our kids are not. So in a year's worth, from the beginning of 2nd grade till the end of 2nd grade, that student is not learning that year's worth of instruction that's being given to them. So we've got to find a way to overcome that and resolve that. And so I know people are unhappy and people are mad and people booed back at us, and I understand their frustration. I also want them to hear, though, that no teacher is being written up solely on test scores. We wouldn't do that, we can't do that, we won't do that. So I hope people, continue to give us input. We're going to have a parent cabinet, a teacher's cabinet, a number of ways that people can get involved next year, and we certainly appreciate their input on how we move forward with teacher evaluations.
Along those lines is the principal evaluations and principal movement. At the end of the board meeting tonight, there may be something in the works when it comes to the board and oversight with principal reassignments and principal hiring. Can you explain what has now moved to committee of the whole for next month when it comes to this?
So we've gotten some input from some parents, and actually the District 2 constituent board sent us a letter asking us to look at how we handle transfers for principals. So there was 2 draft policies that a couple of board members had put together, one regarding principal hiring and one regarding retaining principals. And those will now go to the committee of the whole. Some people were unhappy that we didn't take action on those tonight, but there were a lot of questions about the specifics, and they relate to people's employment. And we would not be good stewards of taxpayer dollars if we were making into a policy tonight something that we're not sure about yet as to how that would relate to employees and their contracts. So those will go to the June 12th committee of the whole meeting. I'm sure they'll there'll be some tweaking and working on those policies between now and then. We'll have, I'm sure, a real hearty discussion on it, and then they'll either be changed or move forward to the board meeting. So that's how that's handled.
And then finally, a major decision or non-decision tonight was to postpone where the District 3 bus lot will be constructed. Can you go into detail the decision that was made tonight as far as finding out more feedback and for this board to determine if and when a centralized District 3 bus lot will be created?
So that's a real challenge for us right now because we want to have a bus lot on James Island. We have, I think, 25 to 28 bus drivers who have to drive to North Charleston to get their bus and then go get kids on James Island and take them to James Island schools. So I know the staff has worked for the past year on options for that. They've had, I think, 4 community meetings, and it's a toughie. I mean, we have their recommendation, staff's recommendation is that we put the bus lot at James Island Elementary. And some people have said to us, well, you shouldn't have an elementary school. We have bus lots at other elementary schools and middle schools throughout the district. Also, some suggested, well, we look at splitting it up and have a smaller number of buses. Well, the state, a number of our buses are state buses, and the state requires that I think we have at least 20, maybe it's 25, there for them to work on. So it's not like we could put 10 buses here, 10 buses here, and spread them out. So we heard from the community, their input, and we're going to ask staff to look back and make sure there's not any other place on James Island that's not out of school or not close by to a neighborhood, so that we can look at it. So they'll bring that back to our June 26th board meeting.